back. We're back. I'm doing a uh, interview series. The Music is Life podcast. We have a very great uh, person on today that we're going to interview for the Tupelo Music Academy community, the Music Master community. This is Music is Life podcast. Before we bring him on, I do have a few housekeeping things. This February the 4th, we do have open house. I have been talking about open house, giving our students and parents an opportunity to learn music, discover music. This is a free opportunity for our community to come to the Tupelo Music Academy campus at 839 Shell Street in Tupelo, Mississippi, and discover the class that you would like to learn in. We teach basically everything: bass guitar, lead guitar, drums, piano, the band instruments, and voice classes. We are giving opportunities for our families to come in and get in an open house, get you introduced to some of the faculty and staff there, along with myself. So that is February the 4th. It's on a Saturday. It will start at 10 a.m. Looking forward to that day. So February the 4th, 839 Shell Street, open house, free to the public. Um, if you want to get more information, you do have our number 662-397-1632 and info at Tupelo Music Academy if you need any more information. Okay, so today I want to go ahead and get into it. Today is MLK Jr., Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And, we were about everybody, but we want to celebrate Martin Luther King for the accomplishments. A lot of us couldn't be doing the things that we're doing today without his vision and foresight and the people who helped supported his vision. So a major shout out to Martin Luther King and the people who paved the way for men like me and the young man that I'm getting ready to bring on today. So today we have Mr. Terrell Gilmore. He is a maestro of music. I have met him when he was a very young man. He's still young. He's still a young man to me. But I met him when he was very young. He was talented, worked very hard, very curious about music. I always liked that about him. He's always asking questions, always trying to figure out things. And that's an important thing to have as a young music master coming up. If you're wanting to learn music, you got to jump all the way in. You got to learn things. You got to ask questions. I never seen him get to a point to where you couldn't tell him nothing or he wasn't looking for stuff. He's always looking to improve. That's somebody who's always going to grow. So just to give a little intro to him, Terrell Gilmore is on YouTube. That's Maestro, and I think he has one that's Terrell Gilmore. Excellent saxophonist. We actually play together. We can play. So today we have Mr. Terrell Gilmore. Mr. Gilmore, I definitely appreciate you coming on the Music is Life podcast. We're so thankful and happy that you're here. For those who don't know you, give a little small intro of who you are and how you got started in music.
Can you hear me? All right, so I was muted for a second. I just wanted to make sure. All right, well, hello, everybody. My name is Terrell Gilmore. I'm a music educator and also a saxophonist as well. I've been playing saxophone since about 2008. I got started in band, you know how most kids usually do. You know, you get in about sixth grade, looking for something new and challenging to grow into and just to figure out what's it about. So I actually started playing music in sixth grade and working on music At the time when I first got in band, I asked him to be a percussion player. But funny story, I got sick around with bronchitis around the time, so I had to be out the whole week when they were selecting instruments. And by the time they came back, by the time I came back, the only instrument he didn't have in his instrumentation was a saxophone. So he asked me if I can play saxophone, and I said, well, it's not percussion, but I give it a shot. And here I am today. I didn't think that picking that instrument would take me where it took me today, but it just gave me an outlet for music. But long story short, after I joined band, then I started really getting into it more so close to high school, where about my freshman year, I kind of had the opportunity to play with my band director, Mr. Travis Metcalf. He's actually the head director down in West Point now. But he invited me to play with a group that he was playing with. I was only about 15, 16 at the time. So I'm thinking, man, I'm playing with all these other guys. I don't know if I'll be at that level, but hey, I'll go and I'll take it as a learning experience. So and that's what music to me has pretty much been. All my life is a never-ending learning experience. And I think when you take that and you transfer it into your own life, it helps you continue to grow in many different areas of your life. So ever since then, I've been playing gigs, from through high school, whether it's with church groups or whether it's been out with a couple guys. I know we played in Freddie T's a couple times, and we still do it to this day. And once I finally got to my senior year, I kind of didn't know exactly where I wanted to go with music. I just knew I wanted to still be a part of my life. So when I went to college, my goal at first was just to continue music and learn how to play and go from there. But I ended up in music education, and to this day, I'm able to give that same experience and those experiences that I've learned in music back to the students that I have now. So that's why currently I am a band director over at Shannon Middle School and Pleasantville Middle School and high school as well. And this is now my second year over there. So I just got to say it's good to be back home to be able to give back to the same community that got me started.
That
So
is
that's pretty much
wonderful.
my
I didn't even know that about the percussion thing. So,
to this. I want to be a drummer, man.
well, I
But
know it uh, well, in some aspects. I mean, I got the same story, but I actually wanted to play drums. But when I went to
yeah,
band, I was like, I'm gonna do saxophone because I do drums at church. But
mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. That's a unique story. So on today, we have a lot of parents and students that come to the Music is Life podcast on the Tupelo Music Academy Facebook page. Um, Mr. Gilmore, if you were talking to uh, your young self or young students or parents, what was what's one gem that you would give them in getting them started in music?
Well, I would say just jump in head first. Don't be afraid to try something new that may be unfamiliar to you. I know, main that I try to teach my students now, it's a big difference between being in band and between being in, your normal classrooms because you're aiming for, perfect at each time and mistakes are almost, in a point to where we look to not have any mistakes. But I encourage them to boldly make mistakes if they're going to do so, because that's the only way you're going to be able to grow. But if you're afraid, to try something new or afraid to mess up, it'd be hard for you to really learn what you do like or learn what you'll really be good at. So for anybody that wants to do music or wants to learn an instrument, I say go in head first, not worrying about anybody else's opinion on what you're doing, but just going in and trying it, because you never know, you may meet one of your best friends there. You may find something that becomes an outlet for you. You may find something that you truly have a love and passion for you, or you may just find another hobby that you like doing. So just
I
go in
like
head
that.
first without any failure, without any doubt or fear. That's the best advice I can give them.
I like that. We have some new students who've come in and they'll get discouraged, because they want to learn, and and they hear some of the older students, or they hear some of the staff that's playing, and I said that's years of mistakes and fooling around and trying to figure this out and trying to figure that out. So I tell parents, um, I'm in a class right now with a professional saxophonist, and I'm messing all everything up. But it's because I'm learning something new. It's challenging.
Right.
So But I'm in a season in my life in music that I understand. Hey, this is the way it's going to be before I get the breakthrough. So I always encourage our community of students. You're gonna mess up. It's gonna be difficult, but that's part of the music journey. Figuring out things, what works. Uh,
Right.
One thing that I said about you, I know when we go on the gigs and you and Travis, y'all tinker around with stuff. Let's try this. Let's try that. And I'm that's the type of person I am. I always have things I like to mess with. So, um, in exploring music, what are some things that you see for students that hey they make the leap forward because they started doing little things? Is there something that you could give our community on that?
What do you mean by to say the little? What do you mean when you say the little things? Like as far
Like
as when they started?
any little like breakthroughs. I know with me, my thing was repetition. I'm gonna go over it and over it and over it and over it. I got that from my band director, Floyd Stevens. We might went over a move 50 times, but by the time we did it that much, I mean, I can play the intro to Phantom of the Opera from 1994 because we did it so much. It's in my
Right.
head. So, what are some breakthroughs that you see in your students that maybe they did this to leap forward?
Well, it's kind of piggyback up on what you said about the little things. So, when you're first starting out, it's especially hard for, I would say, our newer generation with, all the technology that we have. A lot of times we get kind of set on instant gratification here and there. So, in the beginning, you got to be patient and start small. When it's new music that we start to look at, you don't want to look at the whole entire picture and think, that'd be way too hard for me to learn, or I won't be able to get that at all because it's just too difficult. But start small. If it's, let's say, 50 measures of music there, 50 bars or what, so, look at the first two. See what you can do with the first two, first three, first four, however many you feel like you can read at first, and just try that part out. Or if you're somebody that's been playing for a while and it's, when you look at the big song, that the whole thing isn't hard, but there's some spots that are, take the time to work down little by little on spots in the music that may give you trouble. But the biggest thing is you got to be patient with doing some of those things over and over. It's not gonna be perfect every single time, and that's okay. But it's the will to keep doing it and the will to keep trying hard to see that breakthrough. Because right now you may be feeling, okay, this is just giving me too much trouble. But I've had that breakthrough with, I would say, all state band, Lions band. I'm sure some of these kids have heard of that before. My first year I tried out, I didn't make it, but it was learning experience on how to prepare for it. So I spent in more time, that following year, not trying to hash down on 2-3 hours of practice at a time, but just working it little by little, day by day. I may have practiced like 5 to 6 days in a week, or maybe 5 minutes to an hour, so I wasn't overloading myself. And then you start in January, you look at yourself in February, and you can honestly say that I've come further. But patience is the big thing. So
I
you
agree.
just got to keep hard on it.
I definitely agree. And I like what you said as far as having experience, and experience comes through good and bad. You can have
Right.
good experiences, you can have bad experiences, but if you put those things together, it will help you move further. Uh, I know I know when we were playing in certain gigs, and we're even doing this now on a
Mhm.
professional level. We had a situation that occurred in our band, and the three T's, which is me and Terrell and Travis, we decided we were going to do something. But that was through an experience that we went through that we're figuring out. So I think some of our students, I would encourage you to take what Mr. Gilmore said as far as taking your experiences. Sometimes you're not always going to be successful on them, but you can use them as a part of building blocks to get you to where you want to go. Now,
Right.
my last question to you, Mr. Gilmore, is to parents. My mother saw the um, well, she heard and saw the potential in me early, and they put instruments in my hand really quick. So, what would you encourage parents? Now, my mother was a musician, so of course it
Right.
was easier for her to see it. But what if there's a parent that, hey, you know, I'm not really a musician, but I notice things. What would you encourage them to do as far as uh, giving their child or the student an open door to pursue music? What would you suggest to them?
Well, the number one thing is you definitely want to be supportive. From my perspective, I'm like one of the examples you use. My parents weren't necessarily musicians, but early on, she seen that I had a liking for and a passion for it, so she continued to support me. And I know that in the very beginning, we all know how when we first start off, especially if you're like a horn player, if you play like saxophone or something like that, that it's not, it may not sound good at first. I mean, and the parents, they're probably listening at those squeaks and a number of just crazy sounds. That's like, I just know if I want to do this. If you sound like that now, but some parents will be like that. But you just want to be supportive of them in the early stages. And I've had many parents come back to me, a year later after their child has started playing and say, "Yeah, I remember how they first started out, and I didn't know how it was gonna go, but after a while, I actually like listening to them because they start to sound pretty good." And that's just the thing. You just got to be supportive of them from the very beginning. Um, for a child, I know for myself, and I know for should be like that for any child to see that their mom or dad, has 100% their back in what it is that they're doing is gonna make them put a little more effort into it too. Because if how you're thinking they may sound at the beginning, they're probably thinking the same thing, and it'll help to have that encouragement for them to want to keep going to see it through, and that carries over in the in their future in life. Everything that you start won't be peaches and roses in the very beginning. It's going to take some time to grow into what you're looking for, or what you're willing to work for. So parent support is the number one thing. So be there and have their back, and be there for those bad sounds you may hear in the beginning. It gets better.
Yeah, we have a story in my family. We lived in Lee Acres when I first started playing, and we had a little play area up on the hill. And my mother encouraged me, Binky, go up on the hill. That way you can really play, play up there. So I would get in the first part of the backyard, and she said, no, 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 just go up a little further, go up a little further until I was in the back of the yard. And the neighbors would tell my parents, I hear that Binky's learning how to play sax, and it wasn't good. But then, they supported me. I was squeaking and honking, but I was trying. But I had the support of my family. And then I would go to church and play, and the people at
Right.
church made me feel like I was David Sanborn, and I knew I sounded a mess, but they were nice and they were supportive. But after a while, hey, I started getting it. But I really like that. I like what you said. Encouragement. That's a huge thing. If you're going for anything, you definitely want
Right.
parent support. So those three gems that you just gave us, Mr. Terrell, I really like it. I like your story, and especially going from percussion to uh, to sax, and then end up falling in love with an instrument. That's a unique story. I'm glad that you told me that. But Mr. Gilmore is a very talented um, uh, young man. Got his new family. Met this guy a while back. He has his own family now. So proud to see him. But he's also a fantastic music master. And I really appreciate you being on today and
Thanks for
sharing
having
some gems with the Tupelo Music Academy family. So if you definitely looking for a saxophonist for gigs, the man can play. He's sweet. Look him up. Mr. Gilmore, give out your information.
Well, you can find my Instagram, pretty much my name, that's Terrell J Gilmore, TerrellGilmore. My Facebook name is pretty much the same thing, Terrell J Gilmore. And my YouTube page, I think you had a video up of an earlier one of the videos that I posted, would be That's Maestro. That'd be THATSMAESTRO. That's Maestro. Or if you look my name, Terrell J Sachs, you'll pretty much be able to find one of my videos as well too. But those are my main three handles. Feel free to find me on Facebook to send me a message. I'll be more than happy to reach back out to you. Same with Instagram. If you need to send me a direct message as well, I'll be more than willing to reach back out.
All right, Mr. Gilmore, we definitely appreciate you. I'm going to you just hold on the line. I'm gonna close this out, and I'll
All
be
right.
right back with you. But we appreciate him coming to the Tupelo Music Academy Music is Life podcast. We had a great time with him today. So um, he left us some good gems about support and experiences and just knowing that mistakes are going to occur. Those things do happen in music, but keep pushing. Keep pushing. I'm encouraging some of my piano students right now and their parents. Hey, they're going to get it. It takes time. I have a personal saxophone student talking to Mr. Washington. Hey, you're going to get it. It takes time. So, Mr. Gilmore definitely put down some good gems on that. We appreciate everybody coming out and being a part of the Music is Life podcast. Until next time, I'm your boy, Terrence Cummins, the music master. This is Music is Life. Y'all be blessed.